Hey, car enthusiasts! Today, you're in for a real journey into the golden age of American automotive manufacturing, where legends were born right before the amazed public's eyes. Do you know what Ford, Cadillac, and Chevrolet have in common? They laid the foundation for an entire industry that changed the way we look at cars forever. Today, you will learn how these brands became true icons and why their models still delight collectors and fans. Get a little closer, because we're about to kick off our retro ride with a brand that everyone knows. Yes, it's Ford. Let's embark on a journey filled with stories and unexpected discoveries. Ford Model A. The Ford Motor Company was founded in 1903 by Henry Ford, who was the first to implement assembly line production. The first mass-produced model, the Ford A, was released on October 20, 1927, but sales didn't kick off until later, on December 2nd. The model had a variety of body styles: coupe, business coupe, sports coupe, roadster, convertible, phaeton, sedan, limousine, two-window and three-window sedans, station wagon, pickup, and more. Most of the options were available in standard and deluxe trims. The price of the car ranged from $385 for the base model Roadster to $1,400 for the town car variant. Under the hood of the Ford A was a four-cylinder engine with a displacement of 0.725 gallons, producing 40 horsepower. For the European market, where taxation was based on engine displacement, an engine with a capacity of about half a gallon was offered. However, this version didn't manage to gain popularity in Europe. Production of the Ford E model ended in 1931. During its entire production run, nearly 5 million cars were made. Lincoln Zephyr, 1038. The Lincoln Motor Company was founded in 1917 by Henry Leland, who had previously been involved in the creation of Cadillac. By February 1922, the company came under the control of the Ford Motor Company. In 1932, Edsel Ford, Henry Ford's son, brought in a team of professional designers, whose work resulted in the Lincoln Zephyr. This model combined innovative and traditional technical solutions. For the first time in the world, a unitary body was used, although the suspension for all wheels remained dependent and relied on transverse leaf springs. Under the hood was a Felv 12 engine with a displacement of 0.94 gallons, producing 110 horsepower. However, the braking system remained mechanical and fell short of modern efficiency standards. Initially, the price of the Lincoln Zephyr was $1,300, which was significantly lower than the cost of similar models from competitors. Thanks to this innovation, Zephyr sales skyrocketed. In 1936, nearly 15,000 cars were sold, and in 1937, exactly twice that number. The Edsel Ranger project, launched by the Ford Company in Detroit, became a prime example of failure in the automotive industry. The company's management invested significant resources in promoting the new brand, launching a large-scale advertising campaign. However, contrary to expectations, sales began to plummet right after the launch of the first model. The situation was made worse by the poor quality of the car assembly. Many buyers criticized the design of the Edsel, especially its front end, which was compared to a horse's bridle or a skull. From 1958 to 1960, 6 models were introduced: Bermuda, Citation, Corsair, Pacer Series B, Ranger, and Villager. The longest-lasting model turned out to be the Ranger, which was produced until 1960. The Edsel was offered in different body styles: two-door convertible, coupe, 2, and 4-door hardtops, as well as a 4-door sedan. The Ranger was equipped with Phil 8 engines, with a displacement of 1.1 to 1.3 gallons. In total, during the project's existence, nearly 54,500 cars were produced. Cadillac Chevrolet's 52 Series 90. In 1929, Cadillac introduced the world's first 16-cylinder engine, which truly revolutionized the automotive industry. This power unit delivered an impressive 165 horsepower with an engine displacement of 1.6 gallons. The high torque was perfectly matched with the exceptionally smooth operation of the engine. The hydraulic valve lifters provided such quiet operation that at idle, you could hear the crackle of the spark in the distributor, and while driving, the engine noise was almost completely drowned out by the sounds of the fan and carburetor. In 1938, Cadillac released an updated version of the 16-cylinder engine, which became lighter and more compact. Models with this engine were produced until 1940, after which Cadillac stopped making its unmatched Lagman car. Buick Limited, Sirius, DIDN Ost. In 1973, Buick introduced a new lineup of cars that significantly outperformed their predecessors in terms of technical specifications. These models featured improved front suspensions, hydraulic brakes, and other modern elements for that time. The most expensive to produce was the Buick Limited 90, which became the flagship of the lineup. Starting in 1936, each series of Buick cars, in addition to numerical indexing, received its own name. Buick buyers were typically well-off middle-class folks who could afford the less expensive Cadillac models, but they preferred to keep it more low-key. The Buick Limited went up against the entry-level models from Cadillac, but they preferred to keep it more modest. The Buick Limited went up against the entry-level models from Cadillac. The Cadillac management was actively trying to put an end to the production of the Limited, seeing it as a threat to their market position. In response, Buick management argued that the Limited couldn't pose a serious threat to Cadillac, as it was produced in limited batches, averaging 1,561 cars a year, which was a negligible share compared to Cadillac's production volumes. Chevrolet Corvette C1 debuted. It had a fiberglass body, metal frame, strong chassis, straight-six engine with 0.85-gallon displacement, 150 horsepower, and a 2-speed automatic power glide transmission. It had a lightweight fiberglass body on a metal frame, mounted on a powerful chassis, a straight-six engine with a displacement of 0.85 gallons and an output of 150 horsepower. And a 2-speed automatic transmission called Power Glide. Only 300 units were built. All the cars were painted white. Credit for this model's success goes to Zora Arkus-Duntov. He adapted a small block F8 engine with a 3-speed transmission. They later used a fuel-injected F8 with a 4-speed transmission. He adapted the latest small block engine, a 94-gallon, carbureted F8, and a 3-speed manual transmission for the Corvette. Starting in 1957, they began equipping it with a fuel-injected F8 engine with a 1-gallon capacity and a 4-speed manual transmission. Starting in 1962, a new 1.18-gallon engine was installed, producing between 250 and 360 horsepower for the Corvette. A total of over 69,000 cars were produced. Plymouth Special was produced until 1962. Everything was Deluxe. But over 69,000 cars were made. 1949. I was asking about the Deluxe. 1949. In 1928, Walter Chrysler acquired Dodge, making Chrysler a top U.S. carmaker. Chrysler's priciest model was the Imperial. Walter Chrysler launched Plymouth in 1928 for affordable cars. The most expensive model from Chrysler was the Imperial. So, to expand the market space, Walter Chrysler founded the Plymouth brand in 1928 to create affordable models. I found the brand printed to create inexpensive models, and founded the brand Plymouth to create affordable models. Attack. Plymouth cars were popular, and their production resumed after World War II. The Special Deluxe series became the first post-war model of Plymouth. The car was available in just the chassis version, as well as a sedan, coupe, convertible, and station wagon. The Special Deluxe was equipped with a straight 6-cylinder engine with a capacity of 0.79 gallons. Plymouths from the late 40s to the early 50s were conservative, solid, sturdy, and durable. Made with high-quality craftsmanship, featuring spacious, tall bodies made of thick metal. That's why they were popular in taxis. They had an outdated design and boring monochrome interiors, usually in gray or beige. Additionally, they didn't offer 8-cylinder engines or a true automatic transmission. As a result, in terms of sales volume, Plymouth ranked third after Chevrolet and Ford. Dodge Mayfair 53. John and Horace Dodge built their first car in 1914, marking the start of one of the largest automotive companies in the U.S. By the time of their death, in 1927, the company had achieved significant success, producing around 100,046 cars each year. The heirs of the brothers decided to sell the business to Walter Percy Chrysler for a hefty sum of $175 million. Dodge cars have traditionally been seen as reliable and durable. One of the notable models was the Dodge Mayfair, which was produced specifically for export to Canada from 1953 to 1959. In the US, the equivalent of this model was the Plymouth Belvedere. In Canada, the 1953 Dodge Mayfair actively competed with popular models like the Chevrolet Bel Air and Pontiac Laurenson. Packard 120. The Packard Motor Company was founded in 1899 by James Packard. Before World War II, Packard cars were considered some of the most prestigious and expensive, and their owners were often wealthy individuals. Interestingly, Packard cars were also in the garage of President Franklin Roosevelt. One of the significant models in the company's history was the Packard 120. This car was offered in various body styles: 2-door and 4-door convertibles, sedans, and coupes. The production of the 120 model lasted from 1935 to 1941. Hudson Terlan. The Hudson Company was founded in 1909 by Roy Chapin, who named his first creation after investor Joseph Hudson. The Hudson Motor Car Company quickly found success, selling 4,000 cars in its first year of operation. The last Hudson car rolled off the assembly line on October 31, 1954, at the Jefferson Avenue plant in Detroit. The Terraplane was a relatively affordable car that the American company Hudson produced from 1935 to 1938. Designed by British engineer Reed Railton, the Terraplane was known for its high power for its time. The car featured a new steel frame that met strict quality standards, all while being offered at an attractive price. The Terraplane was equipped with a straight 6-cylinder engine with a capacity of 0.77 gallons and a 3-speed manual transmission. The car featured a new steel frame that met strict quality standards, all while being offered at an attractive price. The Terraplane was equipped with a straight 6-cylinder engine with a capacity of 0.77 gallons and a 3-speed manual transmission. Stay tuned and you'll find out which European cars were in high demand. The Porsche 356 No. 1 from Germany, developed by Ferdinand Porsche Jr., became the first production car released by Porsche in 1948. The prototype 356-001 was a one-of-a-kind car, influenced by the Italian company Cititalia, which used Porsche designs and Fiat components. The car's all-aluminum body concealed a rear-mounted, air-cooled 4-cylinder engine, using Porsche designs and Fiat components. The car's all-aluminum body concealed a rear-mounted, air-cooled, 4-cylinder engine. The design featured several innovative solutions. The doors with retractable handles, the folding roof, and the decorative front grille gave the car a unique charm. These features made the Porsche 356 No. 1 incredibly appealing to car enthusiasts. After installing the engines, with capacities of 0.28 gallons and 0.33 gallons, the car not only won the hearts of fans but also started racking up wins in races. The Renault Juju Quattro was unveiled at the Paris Motor Show in 1937. The lightweight 2-door car weighed just 1,675 pounds and was equipped with a 1-liter engine that produced 23 horsepower, which was pretty good for those years. The car's top speed was 59 miles per hour, and it had an average fuel consumption of about 1.5 gallons per 62 miles. Sales of the Renault Juju Quattro began in the spring of 1938. In addition to the base model, soft-top versions, a 4-door sedan, and a commercial van capable of carrying loads up to 550 pounds soon appeared. In just under 2 years, by January 1940, Over 22,000 units of this compact car were sold. However, most of France was soon occupied by Nazi Germany, and the Third Republic suffered a fate of collapse. Car production practically came to a halt. Bentley Blower, United Kingdom. The Bentley Blower is a car whose legendary reputation far exceeds its actual achievements. No discussion of cars from the 1920s is complete without mentioning this model, which, by the way, was parked in the garage of the literary character James Bond. The price of the surviving examples is comparable to the cost of a ticket to space. No discussion of cars from the 1920s can do without mentioning this model, which, by the way, was in the garage of the literary character James Bond. The price of the surviving examples is comparable to the cost of a ticket to space. However, the Bentley Blower was unreliable and never won significant races. This supercharged car is linked to Bentley's 1920s racing image. Its fuel consumption was high. Nevertheless, this gas-guzzling monster with a Roots supercharger is what most people associate with Bentley's racing successes in the 1920s. The Blower's fuel consumption was a whopping 0.87 gallons per minute. Although many models have long been out of production, you can only find a rare model in the collection of true vintage car enthusiasts. Each of them left their mark on the history of the American and global automotive industry. Hey friends, I have an interesting offer for you. You have a unique opportunity to become part of our team. If you have video editing skills, can voice over videos in Russian, English, and other languages, or write interesting scripts, we would be happy to work with you. Message our Telegram bot. The link is in the description. That's all for today. Thank you for watching.